There are pains we gotta follow, there are pains we cannot run when we're looking down the barrel of a gun. It is not about surviving, either living or you're dying. Stand your ground and never ever be afraid, 'cause we are one. 'Cause we are one. So break your chains, take your ground, make some noise and get around, 'cause we are one. Yeah, we are one. We stand united. Whoa, whoa. United, together rise and fall, 'cause it's all for one, one for all. Yeah, it's all for one. And we will stand our ground.
Good evening and welcome back to the DreamHack Showdown Winter. We are moving on to North America. We have only one more series before we head into grand finals tomorrow. So a lot on the line for the series today. We already have one grand finalist. I'm here with Potter and Miss Harvey. And Miss Harvey, CLG Red is waiting in the grand finals for their opponent. Are you thrilled?
Yeah, I bet they're ready to watch this game because no matter who they play, it's hopefully gonna be a little more excited than the first BO3 we saw today because, you know, we didn't see Dig versus CLG this event, which is really rare. That's usually a matchup that happens at least once or twice during each competition, but today it's about Violet Roses versus Dig, as you can see in the brackets. They lost. Dig lost to Violet Roses in the upper brackets. That was a pretty big upset if you missed it in 3 maps. But today, Dig is saying on social that they're ready, that this slip up won't happen again. So let's see if it's gonna be true. I'm losing my words right now. Trying to.
That's okay. We got some for you, Potter. I mean, the first day, you said you want to see upset. Instantly, you get your wish granted. Violet Roses, you go with them as the pick for the series, as well as like the ultimate underdog, the only team that we did not have any information on whatsoever. Obviously, they didn't do that well against CLG Red. But before we head into anything else, I just want to hear what you think their odds are here today.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Shiver. That wasn't a feel-good prediction, though. I'm not gonna lie. I think that Dig, even the ladies, probably didn't feel so good either. But hey, it's a new day. The jitters are definitely out of the way. Whatever went on that first day, they definitely showed up at least versus Cyberstorm. And I mean, that's more or less what I'm expecting in this series as well today.
All right, well, let's take a look at what maps we'll be having for this series. The map veto is on our screen. Any particular expectations here, Steph? Anything you want to see?
Well, we know we will not see a Vertigo. That's for sure. Because both teams really don't like it. There it is. So Dig is going to go ahead and not let it float. They don't want to take any chance. But Train is probably a good ban. One of Dig's most played map. And they did really well versus Cyberstorm yesterday on it. I would think that Violet Roses is going to try to pick Inferno. They felt confident picking that versus CLG Red, so I'm thinking they might go with it. And no, they are going with the Dust too. And obviously Dig, Train, and Nuke are their bread and butter, and they're gonna be ready to play it here today. What's gonna be the last map is pretty open. I think Violet Roses doesn't have that much depth, so there it is. It's gonna be on Mirage, guys. We haven't seen a lot of Mirage this week at all, like maybe once or twice. Barely any Inferno either. We're sticking on the custom maps.
Yeah, Potter, and there's at least, you know, compared to the previous series, there's a little bit of a change here. Yes, we have Dusty and Nuke again as the team picks, but this time Overpass not floated, and we'll head into to a Mirage. We saw Overpass go the way of Violent Roses, of course, last time around. Are you happy with this change?
Yeah, I think I am. I am fearful for Violent Roses though, because although they did win and beat out and upset Dignitas on Dust 2 yesterday, Milk was absolutely screaming out there. She was not stopping. And again, it just comes down to the jitters. Being a new day, Dignitas, Dust 2 queens in the past. This is just familiar territory for them. So hopefully today, Violent Roses comes out with a bit more flair. Andrea was just popping off as well. We're gonna need to see her performing in the same manner.
Yeah, and let's focus on Violent Roses first in this matchup. Violent Roses, you mentioned Andrea already as the star shooter of the first series that they played against each other. Also, of course, I have to mention this. They had Puppy Power on their side, Puppy Golden Retriever. You cannot go wrong with that in the background. Overall, though, Steph, is there anybody other than Andrea that you want to see step it up here?
Well, I think the whole team needs to step up if they want to win versus Dignitas twice. Andrea is usually someone that always shows up. Although our ADR here from the last map, unfortunately for them, they played CLG Red, so it does look a little bit rough. She usually is always there no matter the opponents. It's all going to be about Rune. It's all going to be about Ashe. It's all going to be about Senna. If they can also perform with Andrea, Andrea will not be able to carry a BO3 on her back. So we're going to need the other players to also show us great things. And as usual, I expect Kyler to be the backbone of this squad as she is the most experienced player on the team.
Yeah, the boomer versus zoomer ratio, Potter, coming into play once more.
Absolutely, and it's very calculated and proven math, the boomer versus zoomer ratio, but definitely so for Violent Roses. I'm absolutely echoing Steph's sentiments there. These ladies have to step up. Dust 2 is a screaming map, and it's going to be really challenging to slow down a confident Dignitas when they're feeling themselves and when they're just holding down that W. So for Violent Roses, I hope that they have their long A protocols, those mid protocols. Senna, she was absolutely instrumental in that upset towards that middle with that AWP, but Flashbang, Smokes, Dignitas, you know their utility is going to be on point. So again, Violent Roses, they just have to have a little bit more of a flair coming through in this opening map.
Yeah, and of course, Dignitas, their opponent, I would say they looked really solid in every second half of halves. They seem to have a little bit of struggles at the start of the day sometimes or the start of a map, but they end strong every time, especially yesterday. Milk shining through, of course, their Sholiana, another star that we've seen, especially in the first series that we have seen from Dignitas. Yeah. Sholiana showed up, Miss Harvey.
Yeah, finally, I saw a little bit more promising things from Sholiana yesterday, because he had a cold start with the squad, her first big event with the squad happening. But yesterday she had pretty good ADR. Look at this. At some point she closed up around 100 as well on map number 1. So finally, Juliana here making a little bit of more progress and showing why she was the 5th for this star squad. But it's just a matter of making sure that they feel confident and that there's nothing that can get in their way. Dignitas is probably throughout the last decade, one of the team with the most mental fortitude coming in any tournament. Even if they're down by 10 rounds and whatnot, they will and can come back. So today, I think we're gonna see a different Dignitas than the first time that we saw play them, Violent Roses. Like Christine mentioned, I'm worried a little bit for Dust 2. I think that they did do a lot of mistakes. Milk was hot, and I think that she's gonna come and be hot again and probably capitalize on Violent Roses' weakest spot.
Yeah, and Potter, Dignitas, they've got a lot of research material to go off of when looking at Violent Roses. Of course, they have seen CLG Red pick them apart. Are there any lessons to learn that they can use from, for example, that series?
Definitely so, definitely so. And I'm glad that you bring up the fact about the research because Dignitas, they've always been known for their teamwork, their prep, and their crossfires. They've always been able to lean very heavily on those sort of fundamentals. And they've always been a team that has that strong philosophy, and it's due to their coach, it's due to their in-game leader in Emily. They've been able to upset because of those strengths. So definitely today, I said that Milk, she was scrimming out there. If these ladies are feeling confident, that's what we're gonna see. But they have that backup plan. They've got the layers. So if things get dicey, if Violent Roses start swinging back and potentially looking like they can upset, Dignitas have those little backup plans to be able to lean onto.
Now, of course, we have talked a lot about Milk already and about Andrea as well, and we're going to do it again because we're going to pit them up against each other in the U.S. Air Force Aim High, Steph. These two players are the ones to watch.
They are, and look at this overall head-to-head is so similar. I do believe that Dick played a little bit more maps than Violet Roses, and why potentially Milk's opening kills is higher, but look at that ADR. Both players are doing so much work on their team. Andrea and Milk have been in this tournament able to make these games turn into the favors, and the momentum switch has been huge with their performance. So looking forward to see what they can both bring to the table today.
Yeah, looking forward to that indeed. And I think it is about time to find out if, Potter, do you want to do it again? Do you want to again, just go out there and take Violent Roses as your preferred team to win the series?
The feeling that I'm getting today is not that, just because on day one, there was not a lot of intel out there. And what I'm afraid of is that Violent Roses absolutely overperformed on day one. Day two was a bit lackluster, and I'm just afraid that they're not going to be able to have what it takes. But listen, upsets, that's what we're all about. I love it. I'm going with Dig this time around. I hope that the ladies on Violent Roses shows up. I hope Andrea gives us those highlight moments, because that's what was making them so likable, I think.
Absolutely. How about you, Steph? You're going with the numbers?
Well, I went with Dick the first time, and although the Violet Roses ladies have been favorites of mine recently in the last couple of months, I have to go with Dick again, just because, in the end, experience matters. And like we mentioned, I think now, having seen a little bit more Violet Roses, this should support Dig and a win today.
Well, I see both of you going, with your brain, with the statistics, going for the more experienced team. I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to go for Violent Roses. See if they can make it through and have another shot against CLG Red tomorrow, because that is what they're fighting for. They're fighting for that slot in the grand finals. Let's take a look at if Twitch chat has any strong thoughts on who the favorite is. And, well, it looks like, Dignitas the favorite. I mean, we kind of knew that was going to be the case. No surprises there, Potter, but give us then a little bit extra glimmer of hope. We haven't seen anything yet, but Potter, talk to us about all the good things for Violent Roses.
Look, Dignitas, they're still a brand new squad. They have a brand new fifth player. She doesn't speak English. She speaks English. English is not her native language. So if things can get dicey, if Violent Roses can make Dignitas uncomfortable, where they have to lean on those secondary plans, those protocols that I spoke of, that's when Showdown is going to be needed as that fifth. She's got to have a lot of value. So that's where they want to place Dignitas, in those uncomfortable positions. Don't give them freebies. That's what I'm seeing here.
I have also still got in the back of my mind that it is early in NA, and maybe that will play into the favor of Violet Roses, but we are going to find out. We are ready to head into our first map. It is time for Dust 2.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to DreamHack Showdown Winter. As we have now arrived at the NA side of the bracket, it's time for the consolidation final between Dignitas and Violent Roses, the rematch we've all been waiting for, and I'm joined here by Vin. So tell me, how are you looking forward to this one? Because you've casted the first time around already. So what are you going to be keeping an eye on?
Absolutely. I think it's a really cool position to be in, right? I got to see that upset up close and personal. I saw it all kind of fit into position. I don't know if this necessarily fares well for the Violent Roses, though. I feel like Dignitas have probably gone back to the drawing board here, Velas. They've looked over the demos. They figured out where they went wrong, and they're probably going to rectify those, especially as we're starting with 2 of the same maps that played in that last best of 3.
Yes, and starting out here, it is Violent Roses on that CT side. Dignitas once again on the T side. And we see a little bit of util coming in by Dig. There's the smoke already out here on mid. And as soon as Thea now starts to pop off here on mid, there's finally a little bit of pace coming in by Dignitas. And they are looking to take that A bomb site. It's now all theirs.
Yeah, great shot by Thea. Opens up the site nicely. No CTs present to do anything in retaliation. They're all clumped up together, pushing through Catwalk. And with an incendiary, a smoke, and a kit, there's even maybe a feasible call to go for a save, but the spray is so rough from Sholiana, was fully flashed. Kyla comes back with a secondary frag. And our Violent Roses can look to try and push their aggression back onto the site. They've used their utility, though, on the approach, and they are sitting ducks. On Catwalk, they are being destroyed by Milk, who dropped 30 kills yesterday, Velas. She was so powerful. Dignitas take the first blood again.
I mean, I like what Violent Roses tried to do there. They tried to group up. They still had a little bit of util left, but the aim was maybe not necessarily always there. And man, it was just Dig destroying them there on A, taking absolutely control of that round. And that means Violent Roses is now stuck with the eco, just the bare pistols this time around. And Dignitas, of course, the way better buy with even an AK in hand, 2 times a Galil, and some SMGs. And look at this. Violent Roses is going to go very much aggro here towards long. Ash now pushing through, finding one. Oh, wait, there is a second kill on this as well. Sadly, no rifle retrieved so far, but that's a good fair amount of damage.
Holy, that was sick. Ash just single-handedly runs out P250 2 players, and now the rest of Dignitas have to be so careful. MP5 goes in first, Kyla trades out, but Dignitas will concede 3 and nearly 4 players, considering it was a minimal investment, Velas. That's a great round for Violent Roses.
Yeah, there was not even a plan, which is all very, very fast, and this move up first, there was a Molotov even there at first, so the confidence of Ash was really there, and I hope that can translate. But of course, yet again, there's another eco round for Violent Roses. And I see Andrea with the dualies. I hope this will give us a little bit of some spicy action coming up, but we would have to wait and see. Once again, 3 people towards long, just holding it for now. No really aggressive push. Maybe they're going to be trying to contact out. But at the same time, it's Dignitas with all 5 of their players looking to go towards B. Not even a little bit of map control, which is interesting to see. But perhaps all the util is whatever they would need. Great flashbang out. Didn't really even have to blind anyone. Instead, I was still looking away. And so far, this B bomb site is looking to be, once again, fully in control of Dignitas. But wait a second. There was almost a kill by Kyler, but once again, rifles seem to win it from the pistols.
They most certainly will. Ash, you had the 2 P250 headshots in the last round, last player to fall. That was quite an interesting decision, though. Violent Roses actually dipping out their 2nd consecutive eco. A lot of teams would have gone in for a purchase, but it was all about prioritizing the AWP. Senna and Ash will both be picking them up. And keep in mind, last time these teams played each other just a few days ago on Dust 2, it was the double AWP setup that Violent Roses had a lot of success with. So it's an understandable reaction to maybe hold off for 2 extra rounds just to get this buy-in. But Velas, they've got to make it work. This is a very heavy investment early on in the game.
Yes, and if not, it will be definitely Dignitas walking away with it. We get another round. Violent Roses back to the drawing board. And of course, not very ideal. But so far, things seem to go a little bit more default. Dignitas now spread out across the map. Player holding along doors for the flank. And 2 people towards short. So perhaps there could be a nice little split coming in eventually. But yeah, right now, just a little bit of util coming back by Violent Roses. But things have slowed down here a little bit in comparison to the last couple of rounds.
Yeah, I think Dignitas know that this is going to be a very good buy with 2 ecos coming in. Close proximity, good spray down from Kyla to hold it into middle smoke. Banking off the wall, Kyla goes in for a second, 2 freebies, and can dart back before being smacked in the head by Rain. Middle control could have been prevalent, but they decided to actually pull back and go catwalk. While Milk is having a ton of aggression, she's tagged down Ash to 15. And now the rest of the teams can follow suit.
Oh, Milk got so much space here already. It's very hard, of course, for them to contest it. We had Ash there with the AWP being tagged up and a little bit scared to re-peek into that, so I can understand why. And now it's a 4-on-3. Of course, there's a player advantage, so I can understand them backing off and making sure they take this one on together as a team. Oh, but that is so unfortunate. As soon as Rune jumps up on the box, Thea was absolutely ready for it. But oh, look at that. Senna with the very crisp op shot. Maybe this can be a little bit of a lifeline, but never say never as Thea here on shore, last player. And the Molotov will not necessarily do much, but eventually Thea will peek into the AWP of Senna. Second kill for her, and Violet Rose is now on their first round.
The fact that got so close, though, Veerless, is a bit of a concern for me, because Kyla opening up middle with 2 very quick kills. It really came down to Senna, as you said. This first shot was huge, the second even bigger. And then closing it down, there was an awkward Molotov toss towards Gandalf, even though they knew that she was on catwalk. But Dignitas, they're straight back in with another buy, albeit on Milk, with just a Tech 9. And the way she played yesterday, I definitely think it would be worthwhile to toss her across an AK, but maybe she can get it done with the run and gun style of the pistols.
Yeah, so far, no really showing a face. Milk here towards mid. Maybe she can get a little bit done, but for now, they are, of course, relying on that little bit of extra utility. Flashes and are going to be popping. Ooh, and there's a Molotov now in return, so no one at least can jump on the box 4 now. And Andrea might be looking for some kills, but at the same time, Dignitas already crossed the short. A little bit of extra space for them. And it looks like mid is pretty much on complete hold by Dignitas. They got a lot of space there, and Final Rose is not a lot of information. Of course, there were a few sound cues, but you never quite know if the smokes or flashes that were popped, if they were actually real or fakes. But now the full execute is going to come in. Milk is going to be running and gunning up first. No one really up close, but this could potentially mean with 2 players deep down and long and the smoke right in front of it, this is a bomb plant now and a 5v5 here for the retake.
That's quickly turned into a 3v4 in favor of Dignitas with the Tech 9 on Milk. She rips and tears through the oncoming players through catwalk, and suddenly it's all down to Ash, and she just has to pull the plug and save with the AWP. This got out of control so fast for Dignitas, but you hit the nail on the head, Veerless. They completely gave up A, and that's fine. If you want to play for the retake, no problems, but you've got to make sure you play together on that retake. You can't go one by one back in towards the site, otherwise Dignitas will pick you apart. That's exactly what ended up happening.
Yeah, and I didn't even see a lot of util there being used in the retake, not a single flashbang. Everyone could just straight up peek and lead with the AWP, just looking towards long and not really even being contested. So it was a fairly easy round for Dignitas to win in that after plant position. Violet Roses, they do have that AWP saved, but money-wise, it's looking real rough, so the rest will just have to eco around it. So surely this has to be a round for Dignitas now.
Yeah, I certainly think so. They have the power play of Ash on the AWP. We know that she likes to utilize that secondary AWP behind Senna. So definitely will be powerful with this gun. Andrea, he's had a rough start, was one of the standout players last time these teams played each other, yet to get off the mark frags-wise. Pushing up middle with the Deagle. Kyla, P250, seeing trajectory of the Molotov, knows that she's about to be enforced upon, gets the 1 kill, and elsewhere Rune puts her P250 to use. So this is getting into that awkward position again for Dignitas. They need this kill in tunnels. Senna gets put down by Milk, who goes in for 2.
Oh, that was so unfortunate. If Senna would have gotten that, that might have given them so much more space to work with. And now Ash and Rune both have a weapon, so in this scenario, I would just say go and save for it, and you can already see them backing off, because at this point, there's not really a lot of use for it. You have 2 great weapons to save. Even an AK on that CT side can be absolutely brilliant. So just hold on to those, because otherwise, you might be stuck with, once again, a very heavy investment, especially if you're going to be losing that AWP. But so far, Dignitas just sitting tight. Not even them really going on the hunt. Two players don't have the best amount of money. So they would just be running away from the bomb just like everyone else. And it's a 5th round now on the board for Dignitas. So far, a very good start. Modesta highlighted that Dignitas sometimes had a little bit more of a shaky start, but so far it seems solid, seems clean. And Violent Roses are definitely the team here struggling.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. I mean, against Cyberstorm Blue, they had a great start on Dust 2. They went 5-0 in the lead, but the second map on Train, they really struggled. So Dignitas do have this tendency to start slow. The fact they're starting this quickly, it does make me a little bit scared for Violent Rose's future here, Velis, if I'm being honest. And it's these kinds of rounds, they need to make stick. They need to get some aggression. Good flick from Senna. Evens the odds, but Rain just beforehand put a bullet in Andrea's head. So 4v4, and middle starting to become a little bit more scarce in terms of Violent Rose's power.
Right now, it looks like Dignitas is on their way to group up towards B. The bomb is now headed that way as well, with 4 players all there together. And Rune is just the only player really holding it. Of course, there is a second CT towards mid that can easily rotate, but she might be overwhelmed here as soon as all those 4 players start to pop up. She needs to hit the shot, and at least the first one is right there. And oh my lord, the Molotov even did great work. She picks up a 3rd kill, and right now Emily is in a lot of trouble. She's down to 22 HP, and suddenly it's getting real rough. The bomb is out on the site, and now Molotov beneath her feet as well. So she will be able to escape for now. Maybe play with the minds of Violent Roses a little bit, like where did she go to? But of course, there is still time for her to leave, so she will make a run for it? Yes, I was about to say, is she gonna sit in the corner? But no, knife out on the way towards A long, and hopefully be able to plant that bomb in time. The CTs, I like that they're sticking together. It is a little bit, I would say, pointless to split up in this scenario. You have the player advantage. You don't want to give them 1-for-1 duels here. But surely this flashbang should give the cue away that, hey, it's going to be A. They're going to make a move. But the bomb plant at least... Oh, wait, no! Oh, my lord, the second! Oh, Dignitas. They didn't get it just in time. The run wasn't fast enough. Oh, my lord, I thought she was going to get it, but that's a sad way to lose a round.
Yeah, like a millisecond away. And I wonder if she didn't throw that flash towards CT, if she'd have made it. And that could have been the extra millisecond that she needed. Very unfortunate timing. I love the idea. Calm under pressure, but not quite there. However, Violent Roses, they have a lot to thank Rune for. She had a phenomenal round, holding B basically alone with a triple before she fell. It was huge. And Violent Roses now can come back into this with a much better buy than Dignitas. Choliana's down to just a deagle.
Once again, mid control by Dig. Pretty much in one round that they gave it up, there was so much control being taken by Violent Roses. So, of course, now the sound cues are there, and instantly you can see the way that Violent Roses are conditioned. They're playing very much passive on this mid, playing from CT. Not even actually a player from B, just 2 on B, solid, keeping their eyes on that site. And that gives Dignitas a lot of room to work with. Every single player pretty much on mid, except for 1 player towards long doors. So, map control, once again, it's looking good for Dignitas, not really contested by Violent Roses. So, I would like to maybe see them change that up a little bit to pressure Dignitas a little bit more. But, oh, look at that. They're going to be walking out of the smoke. So far, so good. Milky still does manage to pick up 1 frag. But Andrea, she is still here on the side. Only picks up 1. So, 4 against 2. Now the bomb can get planted. And this is looking real solid once again by Dig.
Yeah, it feels like for the Roses, it's 1 step forward and several steps backwards. Like, they just can't get that consistency into play. And that's going to be a real issue. Individually, you're seeing again that Violent Roses, they're able to stand toe-to-toe. Rune's had some very impressive rounds. Senna's AWPing, being on point for the most part. But it's just this teamwork, this kind of 5 fingers clenching together as a fist and just punching straight through the defense over on A time and time again. It feels like, to me, Dignitas have had a lot more issues on B. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just focus a little bit more on catwalk, long control, and just grind out these rounds on the A side of the map, because it's just working for them time and time again.
It is pretty much not a single player but Violent Rose is really going aggressive on either short or long, just holding the site, holding the angles, and that's pretty much it. But once that util from Dignitas comes out, it's pretty much over and done with Violent Roses. They have not really a good answer for it. And you can see what it does now to the scoreline, 6-2. The gap is widening. Of course, there is a buy round still in the bank for Violent Roses for this round. But it's looking rough, and the money is starting to climb. Of course, sometimes Violent Roses do manage to make it a little bit more costly on the Dignitas side. And of course, that ARB is such a heavy investment as well. So we do see 2 players now having to deal with the Galil, but still on the board. We know Dig is good. We know their aim is crisp. They should be able to pull this one off, but everything that matters right now is how Violent Roses will answer, and so far so good. I like that now they're playing with 2 players up on short, having a little bit more control and being able to contest it instead of just leaving it open and letting them walk out. And I mean, they managed now to pick up the first player, which is Milk. And she really popped up yesterday. So to take out their star player right now, I'm picking up a second and a third. Whew, this round suddenly got turned up its head.
They've done a great job of locking it down, but they still need to make sure they get it secured. And Showdown and nearly doubles up the spray in middle. That would have brought it back to a 2-1-2. Thea alive, though. Had a lightning pistol round. Half of her kills came off the back of that. Now the Galil has to try and make it work. Flashbang will give her position away. Player on catwalk may go in for the peak, but it's Ash that misses first. And Thea gets aggressive, wants to try and take the fight to Ash. In doing so, though, she gives her back up to Andrea, and that will be a 3rd round for Violent Roses. That brings Dignitas, though, to their knees. Their economy not really in good enough shape to yield a full purchase.
Yeah, so right now, it's looking rough for Dig. They've won quite a big bunch of rounds, but as the Violent Roses still managed to make them costly and now even win one again, it's looking definitely a lot more tough on their side. We do see the Technites coming in. In the past few rounds, we've seen them come to play as well, so they could become dangerous, and at least there's now a trade on mid, so that's yet again another rifle being picked up. So it's just Milk now on the pistol, and the rest have armor and rifles. Oh, but look at this. Now the burst out of V is gonna come in. Senna's getting overwhelmed, and she cannot fully escape. 3 players still alive on the Dig side, all with a weapon in hand, and this B side is looking to be in control and perhaps even getting squished from behind if they're not going to be watching, because there's even a player coming in real soon on the flank. Ash now getting burned, and she has to turn around, and it's already too late. Dignitas played that one really, really good. Already that opening on mid, very fast-paced. They know they're not really met with a lot of aggression there, so perfect on the pistols. And I mean, considering the smaller investment they had in this round, it's looking a lot better now.
Yeah, they isolated Rune, who got the 1 frag on middle. He's typically playing alone. They don't have a secondary unit in CT, and I think Dignitas have made those reads now. And once Rune went down, it put so much pressure on Senna, who got a nice flick across, but was always living on borrowed time. They needed that play to come through, and that's where Showliana's spot on Xbox was so massive with the AK. She sprayed down 1, kept them at bay. Full-on stack, though, towards the B side. We'll see the CT spill out into the open, and Thea get taken down. Kyla with the Deagle actually doing similar work on catwalk before she gets perforated, and they know that at least 2 of these remaining CTs are in the tunnels. They just make a beeline towards the A side of the map, and this should be another post plant, but at least there are weapons in play for the Roses to make work.
Yeah, there's only one of the 2 picked up, though, so that might be a little bit more rough, and especially with Emily still on that up. There's also a util in hand for Dignitas, so the smokes and the Molotovs are definitely not making it easy for Violent Roses. And oh, this flank coming in real soon might bring it all to an end very fast. They might not even get away with the rifles in the end. And here we have it. The spray down is coming in. 3-8. The gap once again pretty large. And of course, Violent Roses didn't really have a lot to work with during that round. It was already good to have that start popping off, but maybe a little bit of a save rifle would have helped. But the double up is back in the game. This is the time now for Violent Roses to really shine and show what they're made of.
This has started very similar to how it did last time around, where Dignitas got a vast lead in the first half. They had something like an 8-2 scoreline in their advantage, and then the Violent Roses came back to win 5 of the last 6 rounds. We're in that similar kind of position, and it was the CT side for Dignitas that was pretty rough. So although they're in a great position right now, if history repeats itself, the Violent Roses can still get it done. But Rune is being flashed up and tagged, but she still stands her ground for 1 before being overwhelmed by the tsunami of Ts who have their engagement towards the B side of the map. They will have that control now, but 2 of the CTs are up close, Fearless. I'm not sure they want to go with this with just a flashbang and no kits, though.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I wanted to make. This is suddenly getting real tough here to retake. Just that one flashbang. It is looking to be used, so they're going to be popping in right now, but now Andrea not making great use of it, and Senna as well. Every single player missing their shots, and Thea is just absolutely popping off, getting the last few kills there, making sure everything is on point and no one is setting foot onto that bomb site. And just, oh man, this ending right here was definitely a real good one for Dignitas, and you can already see the tactical timeout coming in for Violent Roses. They need to go back to the drawing board because it's not working. Of course, we do know Dignitas had a good start the first time around, but right now, the gap is pretty big, and you can see what it's doing, not the aim. Everything just feels a little bit off, Fins.
Yeah, I think Potter said it on the desk, and she kind of hit the nail on the head. It could have been a case that, you know, first game of the tournament, they overperformed. Maybe that is an element. There is an element of truth to it. Plus, Dignitas in their previous game that we also caught on the stream, they had a much, much better performance against Cyberstorm Blue, kind of briskly moved through them, fairly straightforward. So I think there's been a big turn of events since the last time these two teams played against each other. You always learn more from a loss than a win. And Dignitas now putting down another ecoed up Violent Roses. I do not agree with their decision to retake that last round. They would have had enough for a solid buy had they have saved those 3 weapons. You can see even with some investment put in, Kyle is still down at $3,000. Ash was about 4.5k. So I feel like that retake really screwed their chances of getting a decent halftime score. Dignitas will be taking 10. That much is almost guaranteed. I don't see how Violent Roses can possibly win from this point. Senna maybe can take a player away, but that's best case scenario. And Milk shows her hand with a double. 10-3 now the score.
Yeah, you can see the smiles on the faces of Dignitas. That was a very clean round, exactly how you want to win an anti-eco. It's best to keep your resources, but even then, even if they were to lose a couple of rifles, their money is absolutely stacked right now, and at least for this first half, they're completely set. No one can really seem to harm them, and already a 10-round head start, if not a little bit bigger, going into that second half, and this definitely needs to turn around for Violent Roses. This might need to be the time, and the thing I've been worried about a little bit is Andrea. The first time around on Dust 2, she had 28 kills. She was really the star player on the Violent Roses side, and right now, I think she was stuck on 3. She had the least amount of impact so far on the whole squad. So that's making me a little bit worried. It could, of course, be, you know, maybe not always the rifles being there, the money being there, and she a little bit forces herself out for others to have a weapon. But right now, you need maybe your star player to come into the server, because if not, this map might be over and done with real fast. But as we speak, Dignitas on the way to take A once more. They had success with it. And right now, it seems like it's about to be a very similar replay. Smokes and Molotovs in hand. Isolated 3 players already. And now left onto the shoulders of Rune and Kyla. Rune does pick up 1, but still a very tough spot to be in.
Yeah, this would have to be quite the turnaround, quite the upset if they pulled off this 2v4. Kyla, good spray, good headshot onto Rain, but Sholiana instantly retorts before Rune puts down the M4. She's had a really good map. I've been very impressed with Rune, especially considering often she's been the last bastion of hope through middle or B site, but It's an entire different ball game to have to try and retake the site with such low time left. No idea as to Emily's positioning, and now she has given that away with the op shot. 11-3. And just to build on what you said, Velas, because you're absolutely on the money with this, Andrea's 3-13. Last time they played, she finished the first map on 28 frags with a 1.47 rating and 103 ADR. So this is quite the turnaround in Fortune.
Yeah, once again, she is the one player without the weapon in hand. Of course, I can imagine if she has the Crisp and a Deagle could maybe do the trick, but this time around, we see a little amount of impact, so I just hope maybe the second half we can turn around, or if not, on the second map. Because right now, it's all of Dignitas. Dignitas really looking good so far. And definitely, whatever they were doing wrong the first time around, they have fixed it. They are looking confident. And the thing is, it's not necessarily that Dignitas is playing the most crazy amount of strats. It's just Violent Rose is not really having an answer for relatively easy takes of Dignitas. Just a simple execute on A is already very hard for them to hold on to. B has been a lot more successful for Violent Roses, but A seems to be the problem. And once again, this might be a similar case. Emily takes down 2, and Shalina comes in from long. Absolutely sandwiched here once again. Violent Roses, the last 2 players alive, coming in from B. And there are some kills coming in, 2v3, but still it's super hard. The smoke is in the way. Flashbang might do the trick, but it's not gonna be the case. 12-3 scoreline, and Violent Roses really need to fix it. But we will have to go to a very short break, give them also a little bit of a break before we are right back.
We will stand our ground.
So I can see you. Ladies, put your hands in the sky, raise them up. Put your hands in the sky so I can see you. Ladies, put your hands in the sky, raise them up. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Come on, ladies, come on, girl. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Come on, ladies, round them up. Hey, we are a unit unstoppable. We are a unit of choice. We are a unit that's powerful. Nothing can stop the force. Put your hands together. Come on, ladies. Come on, girl. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Come on, ladies. Round them up. Hey. We are a unit unstoppable. We are a unit of choice. We are a unit that's powerful. Nothing can stop the force. This is for my ladies round the world. All across the globe. All around the world. For my ladies round the world. Put your hands together. Come on, ladies. Come on, girl. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. Come on, ladies. Round them up. Put them up. Raise them high. Sing it, girls. Louder, louder. Put them up. Raise them high. Sing it, girls. Louder, louder.
I'm gonna show you what I wanna get to. Ooh.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Violent Roses against Dignitas. It's the consolidation final first map, but the scoreline is 12-3 in favor of Dignitas. They've now switched onto that CT side, and the gap is so extremely big. So the question is, what do Violent Roses need to do in order to get back from this?
Maybe some of those questions are being answered with some aggression. It's Rune that takes 2, but Rain just taps into her head. Opens that one up and then tries to spin around. That would have been a hell of a shot onto Catwalk, but at least information has been gathered, attained, and Ash at range tries to put the USP to use. Takes down Thea in the process. This is what we were hoping for. Violent Roses getting their foot in the door early on. And keep in mind, last time it was Dignitas' CT side that was the awkward one. Now the Glocks come in and that pincer play has been perfect. Violent Roses get their second pistol.
Oh, the read was good. Playing with 2 players close up short in case anyone falls. Having a little bit of backup there was really good. And I hope that Violent Roses can really capitalize on this round. Take those AKs and Mac-10s in hand. Of course, Dignitas stuck with the pistols for now. So technically on paper, this should be good for Violent Roses. And to maybe, you know, get a few more rounds on the board. Give them a little bit of a buffer to work with. And get back into the game. Once again, aggression towards A. Pretty much a similar repeat of last round. And so far, so good. But we do see one player now fallen. Andrea tagged up as well. But as soon as those AKs and Mac-10s come into play, it should be a cleanup. Theodore, last player alive, coming in. And she's pretty damn close. So if she can land a few shots, she could maybe at least do a little bit of more damage. If not, take away all of them. She now has a Mac-10 in hand. Sadly, no kit, so that might be a little bit more rough. Ooh, and especially now a nade coming in, flashes, and that's definitely not making things a little bit easier for Thea, but the tag's still there. But surely there is no time for the defuse. But 3 weapons taken away. 1 AK still saved over Violent Roses, but that wasn't too bad for Dig.
I believe that was at least 1 or potentially 2 rifles that were lost. So that's a costly reinvestment that Violent Roses need to pick up. And Dignitas, they decide to go in for the buy. Interesting, they have a different idea with their economy. Violent Roses ecoed twice to afford them 2 AWPs. Dignitas instantly right back in. Great effort from Thea. But I also like as well, Vielus, that Violent Roses like, look, we're just going to play really aggressive. Like, buckle in. This is going to be an interesting half of Counter-Strike. And look at them already. Up onto the site with Andrea taking points.
Yep, absolutely no resistance whatsoever there towards short. But they're just going to be trying to retake it here from long. 2 players right there. And so far, it seems good. There's at least 1 shot coming in. Sholina takes 1 more. But Andrea also there with the firepower. The bomb is also planted. But keep in mind, Thea's still so close, tagging up so many players. And now that does leave us with just Rune down to 1 HP and 3 CTs heading her way. Surely this shouldn't be possible, but maybe if her aim is absolutely crisp, she can do it. Tags up Milk, but it's not going to be enough. The damage simply done by Thea was already such a good head start for them to close this one out. So 13 rounds now on the board for Dignitas. They're right back into it on their bye. Seems pretty good there in the retake. And Violent Roses, money is a little bit more divided up. We see a player with 7k, one with 2k, so I'm not sure what they're going to be doing for the next round. But they would have to hurry up because Dignitas is nearing the W.
Yeah, they're breathing down the neck of that first map. And although Thea didn't pick up all the frags, she did so much damage in that round. I want to say like 300 or 400 damage in total. It was pretty ridiculous. You can see her ADR is spiking off the charts. And this is where that previous round, you know, where Thea got the couple P250 frags and really put the pressure on, does catch up with Violent Roses. They get a Mac-10. They got 2 AKs. They can still buy into the next round, though. So it's more of a half buy here. Affords them a little bit of firepower and a few threats and obstacles that Dignitas have to navigate their way over, but then with the promise of a very solid buy into the next one, which should include an AWP in the hands of Senna. But you feel like if Violent Roses are going to claw their way back into this game, it has to start right here, right now.
The only thing I'm wondering is, was Andrea's Mac-10 a misbuy or not? Because everyone very nicely saved up a little bit of money for the next round, but it was only her buying up fully with $150 left in the bank, and right now it's the cleanup as well. So it might be a little bit hard for her to buy into this one with 2K in the bank. But maybe the rest also still a little bit struggling. I was about to say maybe they can save up one more time, but the scoreline, Dignitas, if you still want to play for the W, you need to go up for the buy right now, or if not, you have to play for OT, and that's a real rough spot. But it looks like that's exactly what they're about to be doing. Just the pistols now for Violent Roses, and how long they will go.
Yeah, I really don't understand that economy management. I don't know if it was a misread, if there was a misbuy came in, but you've basically just kneecapped yourself with a shotgun there. You just blown out your own kneecaps to try and get across the finish line, and now you're crawling. You're looking at potentially 10 map points. And Dignitas, with an aggressive Thea, have got the early intel. More importantly, though, they've got the early kill, and that puts Violent Roses in a very awkward spot. They have 2 Deagles at least, and we know, especially in the hands of some of these Violent Roses, they can certainly get the Deagles done, but Dignitas have just been on a different level today, and that's been the biggest problem of all.
Ooh, and now Violent Roses have managed to cross onto short. So Sholina is going to be put to the test, sitting behind the box here, close on sight. But now they're going to be walking out. It's at least damage to one player, and she does... Actually, it was Emily taking one down. And things do go a little bit rough sometimes here and there, but Dignitas just cleaned everyone right up. A little bit of chaos is always okay, as long as you make sure you stay in control of it. So that does leave us now with map point, 15-5. And as you said, indeed, there are about 10 map points now for Dignitas. And yes, there is a buy round for Violent Roses, but this is just too much of a head start that is almost impossible to come back from, especially if you see how Violent Roses are sitting into this game, because they seem a little bit shaky, almost nervous. And just the Violent Roses we saw the other day, we do not really get to see that one, the same play style as earlier. Right now, Violent Roses, they do take that short once again. Andrea was almost looking to head straight back into A once again. But maybe with that opening pick of Senna, they have a little bit more space to work with.
Good counter utility's been tossed down, though. But with the first pick, Violent Roses can pick and choose. They don't have to snatch at any of these opportunities. That's what Dignitas did a lot the last time these two teams met each other. So it's good to see that Dig have a little bit more control, a little bit more clarity in the chaos of Counter-Strike. Just shy of a minute to play with, though, and they're keeping Kyla over on the B side of the map while the rest are pushing through long. But Thea is here with an AK-47 and 100 HP, but actually whiffs the chance. That's the kind of round that you expect her to clean up single-handedly, and now Andrea's sprung into life. A very slow start, but 2 beautiful entry frags. Well, they'll at least save one of these 10 rounds.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake there by Thea. Not sure what happened, why she with that, but good round by Violent Roses, have to admit. I just would have wished to have seen this a little bit earlier in the game, because right now it's a little bit late. But perhaps, you know, we do believe in the big dreams. Maybe this is the time for them to actually have the comeback, but man, it's definitely not gonna come in easy. But 5 players alive, that's at least good for their economy. So they have definitely the weapons and the util to work with now. So that's at least not going to be the excuse for the next round. They have all the resources, and now it needs to be the brains and the aim to back it up with.
That fine balance between brain and brawn. In terms of the economy on Dignitas, they'll be good to go with the save weapon on Rain. Thea had $8,000, so she drops an AWP across to Emily. And that is the moment. Thea, you could see her reaction as well. She was very disappointed and shocked that she wasn't able to get at least 1 kill out of that confrontation. And that left her a second teammate in a very awkward transitional phase, headed back towards CT, just caught by Andrea, who's now picked up 7 kills. Boost up from Dignitas, looking down into the lower tunnels. Nothing forthcoming with a smoke on top of Xbox. But a bit of aggression that may catch Violent Roses off guard.
Oh, but there were some good flashbangs. You can already see Andrea wanted to really peek into that, but there's a counter Molotov. So At least that's good by Dignitas to delay things. And once again, Sholina coming in with the backup. But there's another flashbang. And it kind of blinded Thea, so at least she had to trade in her life. And now that leaves Emily just all on her own. On that A-bomb side, of course, bomb making its way towards Bean right now as they know it's clear. Maybe not really the time to overstep, but looks like Emily is just going to be backing off for now, saving that up. The money is starting to run out eventually. But that was at least a good play there by Final Roses. They know that Dignitas played a little bit more aggro towards short. So to counter that with at least a flash up first, and then another one to back it up with as soon as you want to re-peek into that, knowing that there's an op there. Pretty smart. And Dignitas had a little bit more trouble with taking control of it. And yeah, maybe almost a little bit overextending. Really wanted to take those kills instead of backing off on the side, repositioning, and making sure you can win it cleanly. So that definitely bit them a little bit in the ass, but once again, there's plenty of rounds for them to work with. So even though the money is low this time around, you have to eco one and then come back the next.
In terms of building confidence, though, Violent Roses will remember their CT side on Dignitas was certainly vulnerable and had weaknesses. So I don't think they've written themselves off just yet. They have to take it round by round, step by step. They've got the first few back-to-back. They forced Dignitas' economy back into the doldrums. So Emily saved AWP is the only weapon at their disposal. Some Deagles and 5.7s also in play. Andrea, very similar kind of situation to the last round, is pushing up Catwalk by herself. She's a very good entry fragger and will be looking for a bit of blood, but the double peek in Deagles is good enough for not just the kill, but a Molotov and an AK trade hands.
Ooh, well, so far so good for the start of Dig. Maybe this can still be the round they close it out with. That would be an absolute dirty way to do it with. Just considering they started out with just one weapon, which was that AWP in the hands of Emily. And now, of course, also an AK in hands for Milk. So if they manage to do this right, they can still do this. Everyone, you can see everyone's a little bit on edge. You can see Violent Roses now trying to group up together towards that B tunnel, ready to pop out. They still have plenty of utility left to at least make sure someone's out of position or blind. And Emily already backing off a little bit, trying to cover the cross in case anyone will pop out. But the thing is, there's now a smoke being popped. Maybe it was a fake, but now, of course, they will run out. 30 seconds left. But they're still a little bit hesitant, and now it's just one player crossing. But the shots are not really there. Emily missing with the AWP. But the big factor here, Thea coming in, Rain coming in from behind. So this might still be it. Ash, last player alive. She needs to do it all on her own. And she's getting so overwhelmed. The pistols, the AKs. This is it. Dignitas closed this first map out with a 16-7. An absolute dominant scoreline, Vince.
Yeah, there could have been a lot more one-sided had they not have tripped and stumbled a couple of times on their CT side. Their T side looked great. I do want to give a special shout out though to Emily, who had a bit of a rough game last time around. She had a fantastic performance this time with her AWP. And Sholiana, one of those players that Des wanted to see more from. Well, the last few maps, she's been playing it incredibly well. She stepped up a number of gears.
Yeah, and speaking of the desk will break this one all for you guys down. So we will take a very short break and then we will be right back.
We will stand our ground. We'll stand our ground.
Knock it out of the park here in the first map. This was not close. Violent Roses need to step it up if they want to have a shot of making it to the grand finals. Of course, you're still watching the DreamHack Showdown. We're in the middle of our consolidation finals, meaning a winner goes to grand finals, loser is out, left at third place. And Dignitas showed us why they are the favorite this series, Steph. They had no stop button.
Yeah, absolutely not. Dig ran away with the first half. And it wasn't only, I think, until the very end that I saw some really cool stuff out of Violent Roses, but it was a little bit too late. They woke up a little bit too late. And Sholiana is really doing a lot of work, a lot of multi-kills, as you can see, 110 ADR. You know, there's not much to say, unfortunately, about this matchup, other than I was surprised to see Rune do so well, considering the score.
Yeah, we wanted to see a couple of Violent Roses step it up compared to what we saw from them in the past, and Rune definitely one of them. But Potter, we also kind of wanted Andrea to perform the same way that we've seen her do, and that did not really happen.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of indecisiveness coming through, and I'm not sure if it's, again, the nerves coming out. This match means a lot more to these ladies, but Andrea, when we were highlighting her plays, it was the 0 Fs given type of deals, right? That 1 versus 4 on Nuke, where she just full beelined it towards the vent and just made these magical shots happen because of good crosshair placement, good reactions, and just capitalizing in the moments, right? And for this Dust 2, it absolutely fell flat. It's unfortunate. Moving on to map 2, hopefully it should be better scenes, but again, it's Nuke. It's one of those maps that you really have to lean into your teammates in order to be successful. The map just doesn't allow for too many shenanigans like Dust 2 does. So I'm not sure what to expect, but they definitely need to step it up.
Yeah, the lower bracket, I don't know, the extra pressure maybe for a new squad like Violent Roses, maybe a little bit too tricky to deal with. And I believe, Steph, you have something for us as well to break down on the drawing board.
Absolutely. We've looked at Dignitas playstyle on the drawing board a couple of times this week, but I want to showcase something again that happened with them. So after a regular default where Tia is going to flash out mid to be able to get to that cap position for her teammates, standard coordination here coming out of Dignitas. They're executing a round that we analyzed a little bit earlier. So they're going to throw these smokes and the flashes here around, but this time, Violent Roses is not there to be completely blinded. So that's good. Good adjustment for Violent Roses. But if I speed it up on the retake here, I'm going to pause here. So bomb is planted. All of Dignitas players are in position. Last time they met on this map, Rune was the lurker, making sure that she was waiting for everyone to retake from this side. This time, they decided to do the opposite. They take contact there, and Dignitas is not going to let it happen. So as soon as I press play, you see Dignitas is going to keep control of Cat, and then they're able to focus all of their attention back towards A, and it seemed to be a much cleaner ult from Dignitas after that.
Yeah, I think much cleaner is like, that was the theme of the first map, and that wasn't even their map pick. We're going to find out if perhaps the tables can be turned, because Violent Roses, they need to show up on Nuke. And we know, Potter, sometimes teams, they do need a warm-up game. And maybe... Sorry, Potter, can't actually talk anymore. Maybe we're going to see Violent Roses show up this time around. It is time to head to map 2. Nuke is here.